they don't have users, they have event. But then which table does this make? User. Okay, yeah, I'd rather it be events, because, you know, can it be a pedant about things? That's cool. Alright, so we've got an event. We need a primary key, which should... I guess I'm a little torn on the primary key because there's an order ID, which you... No, that can't be the primary key because the order ID can be referenced in more than one place, presumably. Or I guess I don't know where they're using the order ID, because there's an order ID for all of these. Let's see, is there a match on any of these? Or like a type done. What are these done ones? Oh, let's go to the bottom here. Okay, so I want to look at a done thing to see what the order ID is for a done order. So done. Cell side order ID. Reason canceled. Oh, okay. So let's find one that was not canceled. So let's Control F. Reason. Did I not? Yeah, I can't spell. Reason. All of these are canceled. Come on. One of you be completed. Maybe done is not used for... Yeah, maybe done is only used for canceled, and there's another event for when a trade completes. Received, done. Product ID. Yeah, okay. So, is the order ID a good primary key? I think no, because we have an order coming on the books. We're going to get a received event with the order ID, and then it looks like we get a done event with the reason being canceled, which would have the same order ID, which means it would make a really bad primary key. So I think our primary key is going to be sequence. So let's do that. And what was it called? Was it called sequence? I guess we can just Control F, sequence. Okay, it's not even ID, they're just calling it sequence. Cool, so sequence. I guess you don't need an ID for that, it is literally the sequence of order. So primary key, and... Okay, let's write this, but I think it can be done as a data class. So primary key, and then sequence, I guess val, sequence, which is an int. Man, how big are those? Q-U-E-N, sequence. Pretty big, let's just call it a long. Are there long? I don't think there's only numbers in SQLite anyway, so I don't think it really matters. But, and what do you, oh yeah, you need a first value, so let's do that. And then let's do, so we've got sequence, and for now, let's just do the, just a couple pieces of information. So let's start with, you know what, let's stop this, go away, stop it. We have plenty of data. Or, right, do you stop or do you keep going because I didn't shut you down appropriately? Guess we're kind of on the fence, right? Yeah, it looks like we didn't. You're going to need to add some shutdown logic. Okay, we found that bug, let's fix that right now, that's a good thought. Rather than have to remember to fix it. That is a really quick thing to fix, so I'm just going to comment this out. Come back to main activity. Throw in a Control O on destroy, sure. So, you know, on stop might be, would on stop be better? No, because on create might not necessarily be recalled, so rather than, boy, we are probably going to refactor a lot of this stuff when it comes to the part past room, but just for now, so, and you want to call it before super.on destroy, which I think the room stuff does automatically, which is really good. and then whatever it was that I deleted earlier. So down here, and it should be this guy, which means the client needs to be available. Wow, this is going to be a really good refactoring. Can we get this without a context? Probably. And probably get that without a context too, right? So if something needs a context to be created, you don't want to create it until on create. If it doesn't require a context, you can just create it out here. Okay, so let's run this again. Check the monitor. Wait patiently while it decides to start running. Be confused as it looks like it's running. Oh, okay, there we go. So stop saying launching. You are done launching. You have launched. Okay, it's the search thing that's making it slow. Stop that. My goodness, we are really struggling right now. Yikes. I almost wonder if there's just that much going on with that. So let's leave this. Then did you stop? Stop, please. Those highlights are ridiculous. That is so funny. Okay. Did you stop though? I guess no. Frustrating. Okay, so pull this on down. This guy. Where did apps go? There, apps. Let's see if it's still running. So it is called GDAX. Probably this one. Okay, so hey, that actually might have stopped. But okay, so we do have to test if it stopped or not. Even though there seems to be just a ton of people trading right now. Okay, got that. Let's leave. It's still going. Okay, so we have, let's see, is there another? Let's try that guy. And that means we need the WebSocket too. Man, okay. I wonder if we can create that up here as well. Alright, let's find out. And what is that message? Where does that come from? Close. Attempts to initiate a graceful shutdown of the WebSocket. So that's the reason, and presumably that gets passed to our onClose method. Let's see, onClose, reason. So we should see this for once. Monitor, hit back. All right, there we go. So we've successfully stopped everything. We've put the pieces back. Cool. And just for the record, that's how I usually do it. It's I find it's easier most of the times to just hit those little things and then fix stuff. Mostly because the documentation is awful. Though to be fair, I didn't try the OK HTTP documentation for WebSockets that well. All right, so we've got that. We can check this out. We can put stuff into our room database now. So let's keep the type, the side, and the price. Oh, I guess we should get the reason. But the reason's not always going to be there, so let's just start with type and side and price. Let's see what we get. So events, column info. Oop, don't need that. Bring this out here, give me a little more room. So we've got, now I'm trying to think of what would be kind of what information do we really need to store in this events table. And you know, I'm just really not sure yet because we don't, you know, really have enough information about all this stuff. So let's do types and sides, and then we can see if there's any types we're missing that aren't, you know, the ones we've seen here. It'd be easier to search on that stuff after we've got it. So back to the room documentation and column info. So this is going to be a val called type is a string, and we've got column info val side also a string, which I can double check real quick and should, I guess. So type side, cool. Okay, we've got all of that. And we do that. Okay, so then let me see if we can make this a data class. So data class, what do you want? Let's have at least one primary constructor parameter. So we just do this, and primary key. Do I need the val? I guess you need the val, huh? Right? Yeah, you need the val. Okay, cool, that totally works. Okay, so now this is a data class, which means that when we, you know, it gives us a few little things. So if we compare two data classes, they'll be the same even if they're technically different objects, as well as the toString method of now this event class will print out the sequence, type, and side instead of just telling us, you know, the object reference. Okay, so we've got our events table. Then we need the way to access the events table, which we need a database access object, which is the DAO over there. Column class. And, oh, actually it's an interface, but I think that's fine. So events, database access object, class. Do we have interface? Yes, we do. Interface. That guy, and it is a database access object. And let's make a query. What are you doing? Give me the import. Okay, cool. Select star from events. Then we want this to give us a list. No, actually, the list is totally fine here. List of events and get all, which I'm now realizing is Java and not how this works. So this would be fun get all, which returns a list of event objects. Okay, and we're also going to need an insert. So add insert, and fun insert event, which that's not how that works. Event, which is an event. All right. And then we need to connect to the database, or nope, that's the fourth step. Third step, we need to create appdatabase.java, or rather, appdatabase, and that's a class, which is an abstract class. So is this extending something? Yep. Room database, and appdatabase entities. What do we put in here? The stuff that is entities. So events, no, event dot, actually no, it's not dot, it's double colon, right? Class.java, there we go, CJ, right, that's it, and then version equals 1. Nope, that is not what you wanted. Let's see, so over here, this is a Java array, and that is not how you create an array in Kotlin. So this is interpreting this as an anonymous function, or a lambda, which it is not. I'm going for an array here. So in Kotlin we do that as array of, and then what do you think now? So now you think that we need a K class instead of a class. So event class. Okay, that seems to work. And so I bet we don't, do we need a version? Is that required? Yep, so let's see, version 1. I wasn't going to take out the version, just curious if it's required. And this is an abstract class. Then we need a fun, actually it's an abstract function that is called events and returns, oh no, events DAO, which returns events DAO. Okay. Yeah, so this type has constructor and thus must be initialized here. So, looks good. Then we need to create the instance of the database in main activity. So main activity on create, we've made this silly little hello thing, and below it we will get a val database equals room.database, import room.database builder, and pass in a context, so this works just fine as the activity. Wait, aha, don't finish that parenthesis. So then comma, and we need the app database class, so that, which we did call it that, so we can just do app database. Is this one want the Java class? Probably. And then we want the database name, which just call it gdex. Dot build, which all fits on one line. Super cool. Okay, so just for sanity check, just run this, make sure nothing fails on us, and I'll peek over. Oh man, I wanted a sec to look over there. Cannot find setter for field. Oh, you know, that's actually super important, because it turns out if you want to set these, they probably need to be variables, or sorry, mutable, not immutable. Though technically vals aren't immutable, but for most intents and purposes they are. And so that looks like it's working. Let me check over here, see if anybody's got any cool comments, what's going on. Nice. Cool, so Eric asks if we're going to do any functional style things here. Not explicitly planning on it, though probably. It's somewhat hard to avoid with Kotlin. And especially with things like I've seen some things where I'll type in a for loop with a range, and then Kotlin suggests that I switch that to a map, which is pretty cool. So Kotlin is super pro functional stuff, and it's really easy to do. And Craig just put out a course on functional stuff, so check that out if you're looking for more functional stuff. Cool. So that should have ran now and not errored out. Super cool. So we've got room stuff, and then back in main activity, we can start putting stuff into that database. So we get our DB here, and it looks like we need, can we, I doubt this will build before on create, but let's find out. It's so not gonna work, right? Or maybe it will. Okay, if that works, that is so cool. So let's leave that, and then, because what that means is that what we can do is on message in here, we need to split out this text into don't give me too many things coming in here. We need to parse this JSON. So let's see what we've got in JSON object. And if we create a new JSON object, it can take in a string. So let's put in JSON object text. So val JSON equals that. Then val type equals JSON of type. Control D. Then it is type and why can't I remember it? Side. Haha. I did remember it. And so that's from JSON side. Then let's E type and side. And just make sure those give us something, which is going to give us a whole ton of log messages. So that's now three for every line instead of just the one. And we're going to need to jump to the bottom to even see it. And then we're going to need to leave to make it stop. Okay, look at that. We've got open, buy, done, sell, perfect. And we've got this little close thing that, it closed. That's good too. I mean, it's actually really good. It's just not an exciting thing. You really need to close these things when you're done, even though it's boring and not as fun as, making all the data come through the pipes. Okay, so we've got type inside. So in here, let's try db dot hope for something useful. That is so useful. Event style dot insert. Guys, it is crazy how easy this room stuff is now that we have it. This is so. I'm so thrilled that that was so easy. You don't even need to know what you're doing here. Just db dot, and as long as you've just sort of followed the setup, it just sort of writes itself. Except you do need an event here. So let's event equals event. Yep. And oh yeah, we need the sequence. Primary keys are important. So sequence type side, and just as a fun fact, you can do that for named parameters, or you should be able to. What are you complaining about? Oh gosh. As long as string, or really, I mean, I guess as string works, but toString would be a little more safe. Though this will throw an error if it's not a string, which might be useful. We'll find out. So okay, we don't need to name that also, just because we know which it is. Then we can do event. Then let's minimize the listener. That's going to insert it. Let's do it below this. Let's add a button. And in that button, let's add an on-click listener. And when we click on it, let's call db dot event style dot get all, and then for each on that. And then let's do it which is the event. So cool. So that'll print out all the events. And you need to be imported. And also you need to be imported. And so this is the real strength of Anko, is that here, I've just added a button and on click listener, which does not come from coroutines. That's weird. Did I import the wrong thing? How does that come from coroutines? I don't think that's a problem. That's just weird. Right? I mean, what is coroutine? Is that not what we're calling this? Okay, so just let's grab this guy. Nope, that's the wrong one. This one. I want to keep with this Anko SDK 15, just because I'm more comfortable with that, and because we're using SDK 15. Yeah, okay, and there we go. So we don't have this SDK 25 coroutines thing anymore, because that didn't make sense. And then now the import is from just regular Anko onClick. So there we go. OnClick, it'll, for each event in our table, which recall the events are being inserted when the messages are generated up here, we are going to just print it out. So let's run this. Remember, we should have a new button now. Okay, did that run? Also, so Eric asked if I think we should set up something like Link and Kotlin. I am not very familiar with Link, so I don't know that I can answer that question other than to say that probably not, just because I haven't had to use Link. I haven't seen a lot of people using it, but also I don't know a lot about it, so I could be wrong. And okay, so this runs. No button, error instead. Jump to the bottom here. Cool. So we have something that is null. We have a parameter specified as non-null that is null. And it is on failure. So on failure, I bet you can have a null response on failure. The WebSocket wouldn't be, and since in their own example they use the throwable, I assume throwable is not the one that is null. So again, just to show how I did that, it says parameter is specified as not null. Then you come in here and you see this on failure and WebSocket, and you can kind of look around and go, oh, well, after you've closed this bottom thing, you go, oh, look at that on failure guy. So one of these parameters was null. And since we didn't have a question mark after it, it is not allowed to be null. So that's what's going on there. And presumably whatever the failure that gives us a null response is, it's doesn't happen that frequently, or we would have seen it every time, I think. Oh, also, since I used a relative layout, these are just stacking one on top of another. So we can fix that by giving this. Actually, it's not even worth it to fix that. Let's just take out the text view. Okay, so then Android monitor, log in a bunch of stuff as this goes, right? Or not? Because it failed. Did it fail already? Yeah, it did. And type. We've got a type of done, a side of cell, there's the sequence. I wonder what the error is. But it looks like, so it looks like we're doing something wrong and all of this stuff, and that is causing on failure to happen here. So throwable E, let's just print also the throwable, and let's just say failure real big, and then let's do something to take out a bunch of the lines so we'll see it. And then let's print response right at the bottom, just because if that's null, I don't know if that'll generate an error. So we wouldn't want to throw an error right after before we've had the chance to print anything useful. So just toss that little guy at the bottom. Come over to the Android monitor, and there, failure. Class cast exception, integer cannot be cast along. Perfect. Okay, so oops, we should keep that guy as an integer, I guess. And here, so instead of as long, there's int, which should give us an issue here. So let's jump into this and change you to an int. Guess you're gonna have to be an int. Too bad. If that causes issues later down the line, we'll fix those later down the line. So let's run this. Hopefully not get any more failures. Yay, there's a bunch of messages. And then, oh, this is going to be a big button click. Yep. Okay. And stop. Cool. So, I don't know if you could catch that. It happened pretty quickly. We got an error. Let me just pull this out. I don't know why it didn't give us some more room. I guess it's not as useful to have the more room up here, but it's very useful down here. There was an error that scrolled by very quickly. Aha. Illegal state exception. Cannot access database on the main thread since it may potentially lock the UI for long periods of time. Well, that is certainly true. And it looks like get all and query. So let's. Another cool thing about Kotlin is just how easy it is to do stuff on a new thread. So in here, if we wanted to do this on a new thread, alright, so follow me here, we type thread, then we do a bracket, and then we do that. And then we import that. Alright, there you go, new thread. Click back over on Android monitor, scroll over here, purple arrow down to the bottom, bunch of messages, and we should have way more than this in the database, assuming all the inserts have been running from all of these attempts. Click the button, boom, so much stuff. Kill process. Okay, so bunch of orders came in after we clicked the button. Scroll up. Alright, we've got sequences, types, and sides, and notice that since this is a data class, what it prints back to us is super useful. It gives us all the information we need, and we can tell that for the most part, these are in order, so it doesn't look like we're going to need to do too much work for things that arrive out of order, but of course a finished product would absolutely handle that. And sorry for the dog barking, but ooh, he just ran down the stairs. There must be somebody outside. Alright, so, and just look through here, there's so much data. Okay, so we've got all that data. Let's see if we can't get that. Is that gonna stop? Okay, cool. So, alright, we've got all the events, they've all been inserted into our database, and we've retrieved them. And so that's just, I mean, I've set up a bunch of SQLite databases in Android, and it's never that easy. That is about as easy as it can get, right? That is so cool. Let's pull this back up. I mean, not only is it super easy to read this stuff, And I mean, the setup steps, you got to create a few classes. It adds a little bit of clutter to your project, but I mean, I just followed straight down their guide and it's done. It's so cool. All right, so we've got all this data. Let's add more of it to the database. So I wonder how you can just kill it, because we'd want to like start over with the database here. Let's see if we can find anything about dropping tables or clearing tables. Actually, you know what? Can you just delete? Can you just do a delete statement? Let's find out. So cool. Back in here real quick. Oh yeah, I'll have to check out that link thing in a little bit. Yeah, thread is really cool. And you know, I don't know if you get notified when the thread is done. I mean, you could put something in there to make it notify you, but just by default, it just spins out a new thread and runs whatever it is. You could probably put a variable in there, or maybe use a listener or something. But yeah, if that becomes a problem, it's something we'll just have to solve in a little bit. Cool. So we've got all the data, print it back out. Let's collect more and then delete. That's where we are. So, oh, perfect. Did you see that? I didn't even need to type delete. It was already there. Right there, delete. But what if you want to delete everything? Delete all those. Okay, now that's getting a little confusing. On delete cascade. Though it sounds like it makes sense. Delete. Actually, you know what? We don't need a method to delete all of them. We can just get the IDs using the getAll method and then use those IDs to delete. So let's just copy that. Come over to our database access object. Delete. Forbidden. That's very interesting. Delete. Okay, and then so, which actually that won't. So it's a little confusing to me how Room works behind the scenes, because with the typical SQL database, if you were to delete all the data in the database, you would also need to update the database structure. You need to, you know, put in the DML to add the columns or delete the table and recreate it, or however you were going to do it, you'd need to take those steps. So, but so far it feels like you don't need to do those steps, but we shall see. So we've got delete in there. So let's take this, and then after onCreate, we are just going to delete. Oh, and here's a cool thing. Let's do, will we be able to do that? Yeah, I think so. So db, or with db.eventsDAO. Then inside this, let's do getAll dot for each, and then what do we have? We error it. Okay, get rid of this bit. Get all for each, and then in here we just have it like this right now, but we want to delete them. So let's do. Oh, actually, we don't need to do that at all. But let me finish that thought. So what I was thinking is that then we can do this to reference the events DAO, and then dot delete, and then pass in each event, which would be done like this. Except I wrote it to take in a list of events, so it would just be this dot delete this dot get all. Okay, and so when you use with, and whatever you put in there, then inside the curly brackets, you can just use this to refer to it. So I think this is shorter code than it was before, but it might not be. But I like it, so we're keeping it. And so, okay, we've deleted all the data. We're going to get that. Let's put in some more data. So And to our events table, we've got type inside, and what else do we want? I mean, we want all of it, so let's go for that. Then price, then order ID, remaining size, and we're going to run into a little bit of an issue here with the ones that don't have all the same steps, so we'll have to figure out that, and we'll probably figure that out by stumbling into a bunch of errors, but that's okay, that's a normal way to do it. So order ID and price, let's add those two and go from there. So, comma, copy some lines, order ID, price, which order ID is a string. Order type, that's another thing we can throw in, order ID, order type, that was also a string. We've got price, we already have side, we don't need product ID. Yeah, we can take time as a string, I guess. I'm not too keen on looking up how to parse all these times at the moment, but we can certainly store them and figure that out later. So, why not? Just keep it as a string for now. Ideally, actually, let's not keep the time right now. That's actually not important since we have the sequence. And ultimately, I would really want that to be converted to epoch time, so number of milliseconds since January 1st, midnight, 1970. Just because that's a much, much, much more useful way to deal with time than how they have it in their data. Okay, we don't need product idea. Reason, I think that's going to be a frustrating one. So, alright, let's see what happens with this. We've got a bunch more information there, and it should automatically pull in over here. Let's minimize this and get rid of this space in between. And you're done as well. Okay, so... Oh, but it doesn't because they are in by default. So, order ID, order type, and price. Order ID, order type, and price. Get order type in there. Price in there. Order type. And price. Okay, then let's run this guy. See if we've got... Aha, cool. So, and remember we're expecting some errors because remember that reason is not in each of these entries. So we've got a little bit of splitting out to do. I don't think this is all one table. I think we've got at least two tables here just because we've got different information in different orders, or different events giving us different information and such. So, actually we do need to be here, jump to the bottom. Looks like you've changed schema, but forgot to update the version number. You can simply fix this by increasing the version number. Cool! So that is the answer to my previous question. And so let's just do version 2. And then I bet I don't need to delete all the data, but we can still just delete it. That's not an issue. And I guess we're testing that it works. Oh, there should be a space here. Okay, something was null. No value for order type. Perfect. So, and this is where it comes in super handy that we were logging all this stuff. So the first message we got was a received message, which had an order ID, an order type, a size, a price, side, and sequence, which are all the things we're tracking. And then we got all of those things printed back to us here. Then we got an open order that was a sell order at a price of $217 that also has an order ID and a sequence, but it does not have an order type. So what does that mean? Let's go to the docs and hopefully they are useful. So, order type. Market or limit. Okay, so let's read through this messages section. So, the types of messages, so this is going to be the types of messages that we've been seeing. So here's a received right here, and here's a received right here. So this means a valid order has been received and is now active. So this is for every single valid order as soon as it is received, whether it fills or not. So received orders may cause a match message to follow if they can be filled, which means that the trade happens. And if you accidentally or purposefully end up trading with yourself, it looks like it can get a change message back because on GDEX you are not allowed to trade with yourself, which seems silly, but if you can trade with yourself, you can do, sort of an infinite amount of volume trading, which can like screw up all the numbers. So that's a good thing that they don't let you trade with yourself, because it would only let people do bad things, even if it was only accidentally. And then, so if an order is not filled or canceled immediately due to the self-trade prevention, it will result in an open order. So it looks like the order we're going to get a received, then an open if it stays received, which is that what happens here? Yeah, so it looks like we got, and is this the same order ID too? That would be really cool and a great example. Yeah, it is. Cool, so this order, 198C978B, I'm definitely not reading the rest of this, was received, and then we got the open message, just like it says would happen here. Cool, so then open is, so this order is now on the order book, and so this message is only sent for orders which are not fully filled immediately, and remaining size will indicate how much of the order is unfulfilled and going on the book. So for example, this right here, oh, this is jumping around a lot. Let's jump down here to some things that aren't going to move so much. This is an open order for 124.7 some ether, which it's now jumped around, but like this one's an order for 29. So these are open orders. They appear over here on the order book. So if an order is received and it is filled immediately, it would come over here and be a completed trade over here in the trade history and would not appear on the order book. Okay, so where did we go? We want this messages. How did that get jumped around to the other one? Okay, so we've got received and open, and note that open does not have an order type. So that's an issue that we're going to have to deal with. Other than that, it looks like received order. So maybe a good way to split this out would be we want to do maybe a different table for each of these, just because it looks like they've got different information in each order, even though they're kind of the same information. Wait, is the sequence one more on this one? Is this should be two different sequences, right? 227 and 226, yeah, so we could still keep it in the same one and just have null columns for information that doesn't exist, which would be fine and probably easier than doing it in multiple tables, but let's get to the end of these orders and see what else we've got. Okay, so the next type of order we've got is done, which we've also seen in match and change. So we really haven't seen any matches or changes in looking through these prints over here. But a match, it looks like, so now instead of order ID, we've got maker order ID and taker order ID. So the maker order ID, that's the person whose order is on the books. So if I've got some for sale at $200, I've got 100 shares for sale, then I'm making a market by having an order on the books. So that's called market making, and that's why it's kind of maker there. And then you're taking if you're buying or selling into an order that is already on the books. So you're like taking liquidity from the market. So basically, if you're contributing if your order ends up over here and not completing immediately, you are making a market and you're considered a maker. If your order immediately completes because you've bought or sold, somebody else's thing that was already existing here, then you're a taker. And so in addition to that, what this means is that we don't have an order ID column here for match. So that would be a little frustrating, where all the rest of these have order ID columns. Change. Yeah, also, are we gonna have to do this as like 4 different tables or 4 different entities? Because that's gonna make sequences a little difficult. Not a little difficult, not really difficult at all, but like just a little more complicated than it would be otherwise. What would you join stuff together to bring them all together? Yeah, I guess. So then to make the order book itself, you could look at the receives and the opens. Okay, so let's go ahead and change this to open. We're gonna take the approach of 1 table per order or per message type. So we're gonna have an open table, a done table, a match table, a change table. And why we're gonna do it that way is because we need to pick a way to do it. And the easiest way to figure out the right way to do something is to just do it, and then if you don't like the way you did it, you'll probably have a better idea at that point about the right way to do it. So, and it looks like about 8 minutes left, so I'm going to try to get this converted to an exact copy of, I think open sounds more exciting than receive, so let's start with open. And we need to click WebSocket feed, open. Cool, so let's do this all in the same order too, because I'm a little pedantic about that stuff. So we've got type, and then time. Oh wow, we did not need to duplicate all that. Oops. Product ID and then sequence. So product ID and then sequence, which needs its at. Oh man, so as much as I do love to keep things in the same order they're presented at, I think in this case I like primary keys being first more. So type, time. Oh, I'm not saving the product. Oh, fine, we can do the product ID. Very indecisive over here. Because it really doesn't hurt anything to keep it, and it keeps us a little more extensible in the future. So we could just add it in the future because that version thing was really easy. Okay, fine, we're taking it out. So we've got sequence, then we need order ID. So here's order ID. And price. So price, and we're just going to get rid of our last parentheses. And then we need, next one is remaining size, which should be a number, but is a string. And then we have side. Okay, an order type did not make it, of course, because any orders that are open are by default limit orders. So the 2 types of orders, and actually Coinbase might let you do more orders than that now, but yeah, so you can do a stop order. But so a market order is, say if I did a market buy, I'm going to eat up some of these things by buying into them, and if I did a market sell, I would eat up into some of these guys. And if you did a limit, that's where you're able to get your order onto the books. And it wouldn't complete right away. So anything that's open is going to be a limit order, which is why you don't need the order type descriptor in here. It's always a limit order if it's open. We need a new table name too. So this is like open messages. It's kind of a frustrating name. I don't like that. That's what it is. Class opens. Open orders. Yeah, open orders. That's good. So this is an open order, and then the table will be open orders. So open order, open orders. Okay. Then we need probably gonna need to change some things here, so Shift F6. Open orders, DAO. Sure. Okay, goodbye. Just do the refactor. Open orders, DAO. Select star from, and we need to change this to open orders. This is going to be an open order, an open order, an open order, and rename these guys. Don't give me all that extra stuff. Orders. Okay, that all looks good. Then jumping into this, do we need anything? Yep, we need open order class, and this is open. Oh no, we should refactor that one. Oh, good suggestion. Cool. And we need to update our version number, and I'm really liking room and open order, so we need to change some things in here, right? Yeah. Open order, and let's pull this guy, make it big, and oh, are you still called events? That's no good. Wow, I totally thought I missed that. Cool. So can I rename you from here? Nope, doesn't look like it. So this is unfortunate that I have to go over here, but why is it called events? Shouldn't it be called open? An order. An order. This is it. Okay. Alright. Then we've got to follow this same ordering. So we need sequence type. We're going to need to pull time out. Time. Then we've got, oh, let's just keep things in the same order here. Order ID. And then price. Remaining, so let's get rid of, oh, not get rid of it, just cut it out. We're going to replace it as remaining size. Remaining size. And then we've got side, and so we've got sequence. Type, time, order ID, price. Hey Ben! Remaining size, and side. Is everybody okay with that? Does this all look good? And were any of these, let's double check, make sure string is the right type for all of these. So open, string, sequence is a number, and we got it, string, cool. Then let's grab this, and we'll print it, which just gonna need to throw in the dollar signs. Got that, got that, got that, got that. Okay, and let's run this. 11:59, 1 minute before I arbitrarily have to stop. Mostly just because 2 hours is a long time. Cool. So, got that. This should be logging things. Or we've got an error. No value for remaining size. Aha! We have not filtered our orders. So we are sending every single order, even the receives, the dones, the matched, and the changes through this little thing. We only want to do this if the type of order is open. So type equals open. So let's grab the type. Is type part of each of these? That would be useful. So type received, type open, type done, type match, type change, an even type margin profile update, which there's no way we will be handling. So bring the type out here. If type is open, do all of this. What are you complaining about, huh? Oh. That needs to be out there. Okay, let's try this one more time. Or, you know, maybe 2 or 3 until we get it done. And look at all of that stuff rolling in. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of open orders, and click. Boom. And kill the process. And let's just check on it. Wow, that's way up there. Open order. Okay, there's 219.03 15.35. If we're quick, maybe we can see it. Okay, that's 219.03 and 15.35. If it hasn't been canceled yet, who knows? And if we can scroll up that far, 219.03. Stop it! Quit going away. 1.2. That's not right. 219.03. So, alright, maybe we'll find a different one. 218.87, 53.13. Well, there's some 50s up in there, and they keep moving around. 218.89, 58. Yeah, I mean, so let's see, is there a 217.98 in here? 217.98. .93. Okay, so I didn't think we would necessarily be able to find one of our orders on the books just because of how quickly they're moving. And so, for example, this guy who's got the 2,251 sell order up here, you know, he probably put that on before we ran the app, so it's not in here. But actually, let's try this one more time, see if we can't find an order on the books, because that would be a really cool way to end the stream. Okay. Actually, you know what? Can we order it by price too? I'm gonna go a few minutes over because I want to order this by price. So, let's start my orders. Order by price, descending. And if I typed anything wrong, you would catch that as a compile error, right? That's what you bragged about Room. So it should. It's fun. Another cool thing about Room. All right. And so ordering by price descending. This is just going to show us the really, you know, some ordering to this stuff, so we'll be able to see it a little better. So let this run for a few seconds. Capture a bunch of orders that hopefully don't change on me too soon. Then hit this button and close. Open orders. Where'd you go? 0409. This is it. Don't keep moving. No, we left. We left. You stop. Stop. Stop it. Okay. So, and to the top of the open orders, which is right there, is one at 238.88. Wow, that's gonna be really tough to check on. Man, those guys putting the 50 stuffs in at 218.9. They just keep popping those in and out, don't they? Maybe we get that 217.25 guy. 17.24. Yeah, well, looks like we're gonna have to wait until we've got a UI and a better way of Looking at this stuff, 216.41, did we get that one? Oh, probably not, because that's sort of in this churn zone down here. 213.21, can we go down that far? Nope. And we have a bigger order, 48.5 at 213. Nope, don't go that far down. Wow, there were not a lot of new orders placed necessarily that time. So 215.51. And it's gone now. Jeez, that is frustrating. Okay, well, we've seen the data. It all works. We've got to put in a few more tables to get the rest of the order types, and we've got to get the UI done. But I think we've made a lot of really good progress today. And I think next week we'll probably take a look at getting all the rest of these tables done. So next week we'll probably start with received and then do done and match and change. And since those have already been, we've kind of already worked out the kinks with this one, I don't think that'll take too long. We might get on to a little bit of the UI next week, which would be really fun to see just how fast we're able to update the UI in Android, because there's just so much data flowing through this. So I hope you had a good time watching, and I'll catch you guys next week once I find the stop button.